Hello my dear friends, today I brought you a new part of this series. But there is a problem, and I need your help. As you already know the reason why I wasn't uploading new ups. I am feeling demotivated because of all the hassle I have had to face in the past 6 months. Because of that, there is a significant impact on my reach, which affects the channel, as well as the will to continue uploading new ups too. All I want from you guys is to like, comment and subscribe. Please try to write comments in the comments section. This will help me a lot. I am trying my best to upload new ups, but in return, I am receiving nothing. All I need is your support, that's it. So please help me. Now let's start our story. Next day, MS News started posting about Hanxing. Top 1 trending news. Mrs. Huo generously throws 160 million. Top 2 trending news. Ruan Hanxing x Feng Chen 2.602 million. Top 3 trending news. A Xicheng district is different from memory. Feng Chen posted a documentary with the caption, "Bringing you a new shooting work of mine, I hope you like it." People were impressed by it. MS News posted, a new movie, Ruan Hanxing x Feng Chen. The opportunity to audition for the leading role will be conducted by auction. Ruan Hanxing posted, for this casting, in addition to the auction, we also open a registration link for you to send your videos to the organizers. Shoot a video showing your expressiveness and send it to us. Feng Chen posted, we will hold an auction press conference and inside casting in a week, please don't miss it. In Mr. Huo's house, Mrs. Huo thought, looks like a success. I hope nothing bad happens. Shennai's social account. Let's check. It seems that she lives well at this point in time. She hasn't entered the entertainment industry just yet. That's good. Living an ordinary life is happier than anything else. Shennai's house. Shennai muttered, I want to become an actor. She found the posts online. She thought, Hanxing invested in movies. Still casting, I have to give it a try. If I succeed, I will be able to meet Hanxing at any time, won't I? Meanwhile at work, Mrs. Huo, talking to workers, said, pay more attention to these. Mr. Huo asked, are you still busy? She replied, yes, doing final confirmation. She noticed a small box in Mr. Huo's hand. She asked Mr. Huo, what's in that box? Mr. Huo replied, just a little something. He opened the box and said, my love, take all of these with you to the auction since it's an auction. The more items there are, the better. She replied, I remember this watch as your favorite. He said, to support my wife's entrepreneurship, I can give away these many good things. She replied, Mr. Huo, thank you. Let's go. The conference is about to start. Conference's front stage. Anchor announced, please welcome Mr. and Mrs. Huo. Mr. and Mrs. Huo get on stage. Mrs. Huo said, thank you very much for your presence here. I hope you can get your favorite object. Mr. Huo takes off his blazer, puts it around Mrs. Huo and says, the air is quite cold. Please keep warm, love. Mrs. Huo replied, thank you, Mr. Huo. Mr. Wu said, the heaters in this venue are all turned on. Mr. Huo's excuse is so clumsy. Ji Yuzhou said, why does Mr. Wu have to expose him like that? But Mrs. Huo also isn't weak or as delicate as a daughter. President Huo's old-fashioned thinking needs to be changed. Quote, Mr. Wu said, that's right, if Mrs. Huo were my wife, she could wear whatever she wanted and do whatever. Mr. Huo said, it's been a while, Mr. Wu hasn't shown up, and he's still talkative. My wife is obviously not a daughter, but no matter how independent or talented she is, I feel from my heart that she should always be loved and cared for. You both aren't married, so it's probably impossible to understand that feeling. Mrs. Huo thought, is this men's competitiveness? Mr. Wu's pride was wounded. Mr. Huo got off the stage, and Feng Chen got on the stage. Feng Chen said, welcome everyone to the press conference of the movie Xuanzhao. I am the director of this movie, Feng Chen, and this is my investor, Mrs. Ruan Hanxing. This movie is adapted and created based on the background of Xicheng District. During the creation of the scenes, I and Mrs. Huo discovered another side of Xicheng, which is its ancient charm. Someone from the audience laughed and spoke. Xicheng, ancient charm. Nana, Ji Yujiao's lover, said, what does such a dilapidated place like Xicheng have? Are there even any good people? Ancient charm, you say? I think it's just a lump of mud. Ji Yujiao said, don't tell me Mrs. Huo's investment in this unknown director isn't just to promote Xicheng District but also to strive for developing Xicheng. Mrs. Huo replied, I think these matters should be irrelevant to Gu's second young master, right? Nana said, irrelevant. Our young master wants to develop Dongcheng. Now that you want to develop Xicheng, it means you are opposing Gu's second young master. Moreover, Xicheng is dirty, messy, and horrible. There are people without awareness, which is incomparable with Dongcheng. Mrs. Huo replied, because of people like you, the gap between the rich and the poor in the city is getting bigger and bigger, making many people work a road against their will. Nana said, why can't I tell that truth? Xicheng is just a slum. No matter how well it is packed, its essence is already rotten. Garbage people, garbage city, wherever they are placed, they still are garbage. Mrs. Huo slapped Nana and said, I think it's your essence being rotten. Nana said, I'm Gu's second master's woman. How dare you hit me? Mrs. Huo, while grabbing Nana's hair, said, I don't care whose woman you are, but I don't like you, so I slap your face like that. Ji Yujiao said, Madam, it would be too disrespectful of you to hit people. Mrs. Huo leaves Nana's hair and says, respect. You are just the second son of the Ji family. Even if you want to inherit the Ji, there's still Ji Yuzhou before you, and me, the wife of the person in charge of the Huo group. Why should I respect you? Ji Yujiao replied, Mrs. Huo, Ruan Hanxing, who gave you such courage like that? Mr. Huo replied, I did. Ji Yu second young, is this really arrogant? Is this Ji Yu family's education? It seems that I need to spend some time chatting with the senior Ji Yu. Ji Yujiao replied, fine, I'll remember this. Just you wait. While thinking, I have to quickly obtain control over the Ji Yu group. When I get in control, I will see who dares to stand against me. Mrs. Huo continued the conference. So sorry for the hiccups, dear guests, but thanks to that I found a problem. Everyone's prejudice against the people of Xicheng District. Xicheng District is like an old man who can't keep up with the pace of time, but once we slow down just a bit, stop for just a while, and we will see his beauty. Feng Chen said, exactly, the upcoming movie Xuan Zhao will also show you a more real and beautiful Xicheng. Taking this opportunity, I would like to offer up the chance for you to be cast as the protagonist of the film in the form of an auction. People in the audience think the casting slot is being auditioned. Don't be ridiculous. 160 million are invested in this movie. If the auction is successful, then we'll have the chance to cooperate with Huo Group. It's more difficult than going to heaven if you want to work with Huo Group. This is such a good opportunity. Mrs. Huo said, in addition, there are other items that will also be auctioned. All of the proceeds will be used for donations. Half of it will go to Director Feng's project and the other half for Xicheng. Once again, I hope you can get a hold of your favorite items. The auction begins. Mrs. Huo sat next to Mr. Huo. Mr. Huo said, my wife has worked so hard. She replied, this is all for Xicheng. If the Xicheng district can be developed, then everything I do is worth it. Feng Chen said, Mrs. Huo has just introduced the first auction item, which is the opportunity to participate in the audition for Xuan Zhao's leading role, starting at 10,000. People started bidding. 100,000, 200,000, 500,000. Mr. Wu said, what Mrs. Ruan said on stage touched me so deeply, so I'm willing to spend my fortune to help her. 1 billion. Ji Yuzhou replied, 1.5 billion. I also think her speech is truly heartfelt. Mr. Wu said, you tried to steal from me. 2 million. Don't tell me you were interested in her. What a dirty thought. Mr. Huo said, 5.2 billion, Wu Jung, this is my wife. Ji Yu Zhou bided, 6 million. Mr. Huo bided, 8 million. Mr. Wu said, 10 billion. Mr. Wu, Mr. Huo, you are gentle on me. Ji Yu Zhou said, despicable. 18 billion, someone said from behind. Mrs. Huo wondered, who? She noticed it was Ji Yu Zhou. It's her, why is she here? The third daughter of the Ji Yu family, Ji Yu Zhou. She has an astonishing talent for business management. In my previous life, I heard that Senior Ji Yu also had the idea of letting her inherit the Ji Yu family's property. If I can cooperate with her to develop Xicheng district in this life, then surely Ji Yu Zhao won't sail as smoothly as he did in my previous life. Ji Yu Zhou thought, why is she here? Mr. Wu thought, damn it, who is snatching it from me? Ji Yu Zhou said, you don't have to look, that's my sister, she's not compatible with you. Mr. Wu said, your younger sister. Feng Chen started closing the deal, 18 billion going once, 18 billion going twice, 18 billion going thrice, 18 billion sold. The chance of audition was sold to Ji Yu Zhou. Feng Chen said, congratulations to the lady for having gotten an audition for the lead role in the movie Xuan Zhao. After the auction, Mrs. Huo, Ruan Hanxing, congratulates Ji Yu Zhou on her winning bid and expresses gratitude for her donation to the Xicheng district. Ji Yu Zhou reveals that she bid not to become the heroine but to discuss collaborating on the district's development. They move to a lounge area where Ji Yu Zhou shares her plans. She comments on Mrs. Huo's composure and maturity, mentioning it would be great if Mrs. Huo were her sister-in-law, which Ji Yu Zhou and Mr. Huo overhear. Ji Yu Zhou and Mr. Huo join the conversation, with Ji Yu Zhou dismissing the notion and Mr. Huo emphasizing his legal marriage to Mrs. Huo. Ji Yu Zhou drags Ji Yu Zhou out, and she bids farewell to Mrs. Huo. Afterwards, Mr. Huo expresses his fear of losing his wife, but Mrs. Huo reassures him of her love. They share a kiss, which is interrupted by Feng Chen. He inquires about the audition winner, and Mrs. Huo explains that Ji Yu Zhou's bid was for a business collaboration. Feng Chen mentions finding a potential actress through an online casting video, revealing her to be Shen Nai, which astonishes Mrs. Huo. Mrs. Huo sees Shen Nai on the phone and is surprised that she hasn't given up on her dream of acting. Feng Chen praises Shen Nai's expressive eyes, saying they are perfect for the movie. Mrs. Huo is conflicted about supporting Shen Nai due to the harsh nature of the entertainment industry and her previous life's bad end. However, she decides to support her while ensuring she is protected. At the audition studio, Mrs. Huo reconnects warmly with Shen Nai and expresses concern for her safety in the industry. During the audition, Shen Nai impresses Feng Chen and Mrs. Huo with her natural talent and emotional depth, particularly in a challenging scene. Feng Chen decides to release the audition clip online to boost the movie's popularity. The clip garners positive reactions from viewers, praising Shen Nai's expressive power and beauty. Overall, the chapter showcases Mrs. Huo's internal conflict, Shen Nai's determination and talent, and the beginning of Shen Nai's journey in the entertainment industry, supported by positive public feedback. In the next scene, Ruan Weixi, pretending to be similar to her famous sister Ruan Hanxing, meets Ji Yu Zhao to secure his investment for her acting career. Ji Yu Zhao, seeing potential in her, gives her his secondary card and instructs director Wang Zheng to make her a star. Meanwhile, Ruan Weixi reflects on her successful imitation and the support she received from Zhang Xiaoyong, though she harbors frustration with him. Later, Wang Zheng brings a gift from Ji Yu Zhao to Ruan Weixi, who maintains her facade. The next day, Mrs. Huo learns from Ji Yu Zhou that Ji Yu Zhao has signed Ruan Weixi to a major film project, seemingly to challenge Mrs. Huo. The news causes a stir online, with many praising Ruan Weixi. The chapter ends with Wang Zheng and Ruan Weixi arriving at a studio now claimed by them, surprising Feng Chen and Mrs. Huo. Mrs. Huo and her team are confronted by Wang Zheng, who announces that Ji Yuzhao has purchased the studio, demanding they leave. Tensions rise as Mrs. Huo challenges the eviction, prompting Ruan Weixi to accuse Mrs. Huo of imitating her and stealing her life. Mrs. Huo reveals Ruan Weixi's true background. Ruan Weixi replied, "Who is imitating you? What do you mean?" Mrs. Huo replied, "Dress up like this. You do indeed look similar to me, but Ruan Weixi, you have to understand that there are some things you cannot imitate no matter how you try." Ruan Weixi replied, "I am just taking back what belongs to me. You are a robber taking away my happy marriage and my bright future, which should have been mine." "Mine." Mrs. Huo replied, "Your mother was a homewrecker turned official, destroying my family and usurping our property. In the beginning, it was that homewrecker of a mother of yours who wanted to prevent her daughter from marrying a useless person with no future, so she forced me to be married to Huo in your stead. So who's the robber here?" Ruan Weixi noticed the camera and thought, "She is having someone record a video of this bitch," and said, "Ruan Hanxing, you are scheming this, right? Leading me to say those things disadvantaged to my name, then record it and post it online." Mrs. Huo replied, "You said everything yourself, and I am just collecting evidence. If you feel sick in the head, find a doctor. Don't go crazy here." Ruan Weixi replied, "It is just a studio, it is not a big deal. I will let you win today, and as for tomorrow, I hope I won't see you here again." Mrs. Huo records the confrontation for evidence. Just as Ruan Weixi claims victory, Ji Yuju arrives with the purchase contract for the entire studio building, revealing that Mrs. Huo had preemptively bought it. This move shocks everyone, leaving Ruan Weixi frustrated and accusing the Huo group of bullying. Mrs. Huo asked her to leave peacefully. But then she had another plan. She went to give a call to Mr. Ji Yu for help. Ruan Weixi informs Ji Yuzhao that the studio they rented has been bought by Ruan Hanxing and that all studios in the building are now owned by the Huo group, which she claims is disrespectful to Ji Yuzhao. Ji Yuzhao tells her to stop being manipulative and speak her mind. Ruan Weixi asks for more investment and offers to set up Ruan Hanxing for Ji Yuzhao. Ji Yuzhao agrees, promising triple the investment if she succeeds. Both Ruan Weixi and Ji Yuzhao have malicious thoughts about Ruan Hanxing. At the Huo household, Mr. Huo surprises Mrs. Huo by buying all the studios for her. During dinner, Mrs. Huo receives a notification from Ruan Weixi inviting her to a film festival by Xingshu Entertainment. Despite Mr. Huo's offer to skip it, Mrs. Huo decides to attend, noting that the event will be live broadcast, which could expose Ruan Weixi. At the film festival, Mr. and Mrs. Huo makes a public appearance. Mr. Huo leaves to speak with Mr. Ji Yu, and Mrs. Huo is approached by Ruan Weixi, who pretends to be friendly. Mrs. Huo rebuffs her, referencing a past scolding. Ruan Weixi invites her for a drink, but Mrs. Huo declines and brings up Ruan Weixi's breakup with Zhang Xiaoyang, implying it's common gossip. Ruan Weixi is shocked that Mrs. Huo knows about it. Ji Yuzhao compliments Mrs. Huo's sharpness and tries to intimidate her, but she slaps him for being inappropriate. Ruan Weixi signals a waiter, and Mrs. Huo, thinking about the arrogance of Ji Yuzhao and Ruan Weixi, takes a drink from the waiter and starts feeling dizzy, suspecting foul play. Mrs. Huo started feeling dizzy and suspected there was something in her drink. She wanted to leave the area as quickly as possible. However, the waiter who had handed her the wine was acting suspiciously. The live stream was still on, and viewers noticed the waiter's odd behavior. Some thought it was strange, while others defended him, saying he was worried about her. Mrs. Huo wanted to return to her room quickly, but the waiter kept following her and handed her a key to room number 316, which wasn't her room. She opened the door but, before entering, cleverly changed the number on the door from 6 to 9 and went inside. The waiter didn't notice the change and informed someone that Mrs. Huo was in room 316. Inside, Mrs. Huo thought this was her chance to manipulate Mr. Huo. He was the finest man she had ever seen. She tried to approach him again, saying, "Do you want to know why my sister Mary didn't care that your legs aren't working? I'll tell you, Mr. Huo." But he wasn't interested in listening. He responded, "I don't want to hear anything about my wife from someone who is the product of an affair. You are just like your mother." As she tried to grab his attention, the glass of wine he was holding, which she had drugged, shattered. Irritated by her, he left the room. She then thought, so what if he didn't drink the wine? He must have inhaled the drug, now his head will feel heavy. Mr. Huo tried to return to his room, but the suspicious waiter again tried to direct him to another room. When he entered, he saw someone inside the room there. He thought, someone else they must have planned this to tarnish my reputation. He had already planned this all to tarnish my reputation. He approached the bed, only to be surprised to find his wife lying there. He thought he was not gonna leave them. Meanwhile, when he moved the blankets, Huo's sister was in another room. He saw his wife lying down there. She thought she could finally tarnish Mrs. was in another room. Huo's reputation finally gonna have her revenge. She imagined her first night with Mr. gonna be with Mr. Huo, who was a very handsome and refined man, and felt like she was on top of this world. Without turning on the light, she stripped her clothes and went straight into another man's arms even without looking at his face or confirming his identity. Meanwhile, Mr. Huo, he is having a heart attack with his own temptation, he can't stop feeling overwhelmed by the desire to be with his wife. But then she woke up and she started screaming, and she was about to hit him, and shouts, "Who is that?" Shouting, "Who is that?" Then suddenly she realized it was her husband. She understands what happened. She calmed down. She was understanding that they were both drunk and that someone might be trying to create a conflict between them, or whatever. He didn't know she was safe. He watched as she felt dizzy and passed out. She then felt dizzy and passed out. Into the bathroom. He then quickly went inside the shower, turned on the shower without removing his coat. Damn, he opened the shower and muttered, "Damn, I need to cool down my shower." He hurriedly took a shower and called his assistant. He hurriedly picked up his phone and called the most recent purchase of drugs. He asks her to inquire about the most recent person beside his wife, but his heart started pounding again. Then he was about to go and sleep beside his wife. Unable to understand why he was acting this way, he ran back to the shower to cool down once more. A cool shower. He can't believe why he is acting like this. The next day, when she woke up, she noticed Mr. Huo sitting on a chair instead of lying on the bed. His dark circles were visible. She muttered, "It seems like you couldn't sleep," then giggled. He looked embarrassed but spoke up, "It seems like we were both drugged last night. Do you remember anything?" She thought for a moment and then said, "Oh yes, I drank something last night and then felt dizzy." "Same here, Mr. Huo responded. She muttered, "Ruan Wei Si," recalling that she was the only one with them last night. Mr. Huo agreed, but they both realized they didn't have enough evidence against her. They were unsure of what to do next. While they talked, she went into the bathroom and noticed it was wet. "Did you take a shower?" she asked. He tried to change the subject, but she could see how flustered he was, which she found endearing. She kissed him and went to take a shower. Meanwhile, in another room, Ruan Wei Si woke up, thinking her plan had finally worked. She was about to start acting out her part, preparing to confront Mr. Huo with, "How could you do this to me?" But when the man turned, they were both shocked to see each other. "Why are you here?" he asked. She started crying, insisting, "This must have been a mistake. I'm not a bad girl who would sleep with her investor." He was skeptical at first, but she continued crying, "I was still a virgin, and you are my first. Why would I sleep with anyone who isn't my lover?" Her pitiful tears made him reconsider, and he handed her a blanket, asking her to get dressed. They both left the room together. At the same time, the Huo couple was also leaving their room. They all met in the hallway. Ruan Wei Si tried to act like a friendly sister, but Mrs. Huo suddenly gave her a vitamin pill and said, "Don't act friendly." The Huo couple then left, leaving Ruan Wei Si behind. She turned to the man and asked, "Mr. Gu, will you take responsibility?" He agreed. A few days passed peacefully, with Ruan Wei Si making no trouble. Mrs. Huo was relieved, but her peace was disrupted when she stumbled upon an article falsely accusing Shen Nai of dating a supposed gangster, Xiao Bai. The article also included a fake photo showing Shen Nai bullying Ruan Wei-si, who appeared pitiful. The false rumors led to severe online backlash against Shen Nai, with netizens calling her all sorts of names. Angered, Mrs. Huo realized Ruan Wei-si was behind the rumors and rushed to the studio, with Mr. Huo concerned for her. At the studio, Shen Nai was apologizing to the director for the scandal. Mrs. Huo defended Shen Nai, asserting that she was not at fault. Her attention then shifted to Wen Qing, a famous actress considered the queen of acting. The director explained that Wen Qing, who had been persuaded to make a cameo, was now considering dropping out due to the scandal. He noted that Wen Qing was straightforward and difficult to convince. Mrs. Huo approached Wen Qing, who expressed her displeasure with Shen Nai, criticizing her reaction to the trolling and calling her unprofessional. Mrs. Huo acknowledged Shen Nai's immaturity but emphasized her good character and talent, asking Wen Qing to reconsider. Convinced, Wen Qing decided to stay in the movie and posted a supportive message about Shen Nai, praising her as a promising newcomer. This positive post quickly shifted public opinion, and the online harassment ceased. Mrs. Huo also made a statement, denying the false rumors and clarifying that Shen Nai and Xiaobai were not romantically involved but were like siblings. This further helped restore Shen Nai's reputation. Everyone at the studio was relieved and happy. Later, a representative from the reality show, Into the Mountains, approached Mrs. Huo, inviting her and Mr. Huo to participate. Initially, she declined, but after some persuasion, she agreed to join the program, seeing it as an opportunity for something new. Mrs. Huo returned home to see if her husband had received an invitation for the reality show as well. Upon seeing the invite on his desk, he warned, "This must be a trap, we should be cautious." Mrs. Huo, however, saw an opportunity to expose their enemies, suggesting they act as bait to catch them. Her husband agreed. On the day of the show, they arrived at an old, rundown location slated for development. Suddenly, Ruan Wei-si's voice rang out, disparaging the place. She was accompanied by Mr. Ji Yu, another participant. The couple spoke ill of the location and its residents, but Mrs. Huo warned them to stop. Another couple arrived, causing a stir, the famous actress Wen Qing and her husband. Mrs. Huo was pleased to see Wen Qing and asked why she joined the show. Wen Qing revealed that it was her husband who had been invited. Mrs. Huo noticed a bruise on Wen Qing's hand and suspected domestic violence. When she inquired, Wen Qing claimed she had fallen, but Mrs. Huo knew better. Their conversation was interrupted by Wen Qing's husband, who angrily called her names in front of everyone. Ruan Wei-si then questioned why there were only 3 couples when 4 were expected. Just then, Zhang Xiaoyang's girlfriend arrived, much to the dismay of both sisters. As Mrs. Huo departed, Mr. Zhang abruptly released his girlfriend's hand and dashed towards Mrs. Huo, displaying an unsettling familiarity. He reached out to grab her hand, but Mrs. Huo swiftly pulled away, setting a clear boundary. She made it clear that such behavior was inappropriate, especially towards a married woman. Witnessing this scene, Mr. Zhang's girlfriend looked worried and asked if he was okay. Mrs. Huo couldn't help but wonder why this woman had fallen for him, despite his disrespectful behavior. She questioned if the girl was blind to his faults. Just then, the host announced that the game was about to begin. He informed the participants that their luggage had already been sent to their accommodation, and they would receive only 20 yuan for dinner shopping. The revelation left everyone stunned. Ruan Wei-si seized the moment to put on an act of sympathy. She lamented the plight of those who had to survive on such a meager amount, with Mr. Ji Yu chimed in to support her act. The netizens watching the live show were taken in by her performance, praising her compassion. Some even called her a true angel or a fairy for her supposed kindness. Meanwhile, Mrs. Huo was excited about the shopping challenge. She exclaimed, "It's been a long time since I last went to the market. When I was a child, I was an expert at grocery shopping and could buy ingredients for a whole meal with only 5 yuan." Her confidence impressed the netizens, and Mr. Huo jokingly declared his wife the winner of the show before the challenge even began. As the Huo couple prepared to leave for the market, Mr. Zhang suddenly ran up to them, offering his 20 yuan to Mrs. Huo, leaving his girlfriend, Li Min, behind. Seeing an opportunity, Ruan Weiqi approached Li Min with a faux concern. "Greetings to you, Min Min. Why is your man like this? Who leaves his girlfriend alone to follow another woman?" Li Min retorted, questioning why Ruan Weiqi was speaking ill of her own sister, Hangxing. Unfazed, Ruan Weiqi continued her disparaging remarks, insinuating that Hangxing had a habit of seducing men, even as a married woman. The netizens watching the drama unfold were divided in their opinions. Some accused Ruan Weiqi of backstabbing her sister, while others seemed swayed by her insinuations. Li Min, initially hesitant, was eventually persuaded by Ruan Weiqi's words. She started to believe that if Hangxing's own sister spoke this way about her, there must be some truth to it. A sense of revenge began to brew within her. At the market, the other couples were busy shopping for dinner. One of the husbands, an actor, began to berate his wife arrogantly. Hangxing, witnessing the scene, stepped in. She advised him that his manner of speaking was disrespectful and that he should be more considerate of his wife. The netizens were surprised by his harsh treatment of his wife and impressed by Hangxing's intervention. Though the husband reluctantly agreed to be more mindful, he curtly told Hangxing not to interfere in family matters. Hangxing stood her ground, explaining that his wife had once helped her, and she was merely returning the favor. After the actor left in an annoyance, Hangxing turned to his wife and said, "You have to resist. If you continue to endure like this, he'll only get worse. Stop being so patient, I can help you." Just then, Li Min saw an opportunity to enact her revenge. She interrupted the conversation, accusing Hangxing loudly, "Ruan Hangxing, why are you seducing other people's boyfriends behind your husband's back?" Hangxing, unfazed, retorted, "Which of your eyes has seen me around men?" Embarrassed but undeterred, Li Min continued her accusations, "You should stop seducing my man." Annoyed by the baseless accusations, Hangxing responded sharply, "You need to get your eyes checked." Li Min pressed on, accusing Hangxing of harassing her boyfriend. In response, Hangxing calmly took out her cell phone and presented evidence, showing that it was, in fact, Li Min's boyfriend who had been harassing her. This revelation left Li Min stunned and silenced the crowd watching the drama unfold. The netizens, who had been following the events closely, were abuzz with discussions, now seeing Hangxing in a new, more sympathetic light. The video ends here, my dear friends. If you want the final episode of this story, the ending, then please type Hangxing final. Till then, bye.